Yo, what's up everybody? This is Mike LePond from Mike LePond's Silent Assassins, and welcome to the next edition of the Mike LePond Storyteller series as we take the tour of Babylon here. And today we're going to talk about the whole writing process behind the third single from the Whore of Babylon record called the Ides of March. Okay, now those of you who know your history know the Ides of March was the day of death of Julius Caesar. And Ides of March is actually March 15th, I believe. Anyway, so at the time I was writing this song, I was at a crossroads, because it's like, us metal guys, I mean, what keys do we always have? We always write in like A or E or F sharp. Those are the go-to chords. And I was just feeling like stifled and uninspired. So I said, you know what, let's challenge myself here. So I wanted to find another key. So I was like, how about B flat? Because if you have a B flat, whatever. Then when you crank the E, it's that dark. So I went with that. So the song, it would have been so much easier if I played it in A, but I played it in B flat. And it actually challenged me to write, the chorus in a different way and just think totally different. So if you guys are ever uninspired, just force yourself to write in another key. Okay? All right, so the Ides of March. Let's see. I had these lyrics for a long time. Originally I was, thinking maybe they'd be for Symphony X, but, they never got used. So when it came time to writing Whore of Babylon, I just took them, right? So what I did was I kind of just gave a basic verse, chorus kind of thing. And then at one point I did a little bridge. But let's start, before we get into that, let's start how we actually started the song. So, right, so we're B flat this time. And so I had on the bass, it's kind of a gallop, So I was thinking like Iron Maiden meets Venom at war with Satan, kind of gallop, So I had the bass playing octaves, just kind of like, I don't have the bass in my hand right now. Basically, it was just kind of like, right? So, and that's what I did. As far as the guitar, just what we were talking about. I went for that E, right? And then the bass, bump it bump it bump it bump. Right. So it gave a really dark, heavy sound because now the guitar was below the bass. And it was actually really, really cool. And then, I went into just like a gallop kind of a tune, like a Maiden kind of thing, So because it was B flat, and I'm not like really a guitar player, it's a little tough to play and a little tough to learn. But I'm going to just kind of show you how I played the main riff and see if I could get it close. So whatever. Right, and then basically went into like a real kind of dark, dissonant verse, real slow, changed up the beat, right? Real kind of just slow plodding, B flat to the minor second, and then the chords in between were actually just more like, then I went to the major second with the minor third. I don't want to get too involved in that, but just real kind of dark, changing it up as much as I can. So then it came to the chorus, and I was like, well, it's so like these dark, dissonant, heavy metal kind of chords, real classical almost. So I said, let's go into a chorus that's just like a rock and roll chorus. Real simple, like rock and roll 3-chord chorus, you know. So to the from the B flat to the F sharp, just simple, you know. And it kind of worked really nice. You know, I started with the chorus on just like an F sharp major, C sharp major, G sharp major, and then I modulated to a B flat, you know, and then I kind of learned that technique from Symphony X, and it worked out really, really good. 3-part harmony on the vocals, so it came out really grandiose. And I put a what did I put on that? I put strings on that. Strings always just give it this nice, warm, epic kind of feel. Okay, so now we'll talk about the lyrics a little bit. Basically, it just goes through the story of Julius Caesar, you know, how the Senate, how he tries to basically take over Rome, and the Senate just doesn't like it, and eventually they decide, you know, they're going to kill him. So I just, and also I didn't want to just do whatever, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. In the second verse, I changed it up just a little bit for the second half of the verse, and then went back to the same chorus. So I did just something like this. I'll play it for you. So I kind of borrowed that. That's total Judas Priest. Totally borrowed that from Judas Priest. But it just worked again because you had this real dark, dissident kind of chording going on, and then just went into this hard rock, heavy metal, classic kind of thing. Then, boom, you know, came time for the guitar solo. Real simple. I just wanted something that would modulate to where I wanted it to go. So one of the notes that Alan sings, the word plight, just kind of worked with the G, you know, and I just did something really kind of simple. Modulates from G to C sharp, right? Going to that always diminished right there. And then it kind of put me on an E flat. And us metal guys, we don't like E flat because, you know, we'd rather have an E. So I found myself in an E flat, and I had to say to myself, okay, what are we going to do? So I said, all right, let's do something maybe Phrygian major Symphony X-ish. And I kind of came up with something like this. And it was kind of like a sing-along. We put some choir in there with Alan kind of blending in with the choir. And it was kind of a nice break, right? So after that really harsh kind of guitar solo, excellent guitar solo by Lance on that. So now the question is, what do we do? Because we're telling an epic story, one of the most epic stories of all time. The death scene. The death scene. So now I had to think of what could we do to make a death scene, and then we'd hit the chorus and we're out. So what I did was I kind of thought like in the vein of like maybe Sabotage. You know, I was thinking what would like Oliva do? So I kind of just did the riff, but with no distortion, nice and clean. And then Alan would just kind of like did a spoken word thing, you know. So that kind of builds and builds, like at the death scene, like he's in the Senate and they're, you know, they got their daggers behind their backs, you know, and then, you know, it explodes into just like with the drums and guitar. So then it just builds and builds from this death scene into the final chorus. And I think it really worked well. And then at the end, it just came to me. I said, you know what? How about something like a War Pigs kind of thing, you know? So we had the same kind of chords, you know, with the choir. And then I borrowed a page from Merciful Fate, Come to the Sabbath. And I just came up with something, you know, as dark as I could. 4 little picking out the chord things. That was the first one. Second one. And then the third one. And then the final one. No, let me play that again. So it kind of just 4 little things, and then the last one kind of completes it, you know what I mean? And it just fades out, you know? So it worked out really, really cool. I hope you guys enjoyed that little tutorial. I have more planned for you in the future. So thanks for coming, and I will see you soon.